Spring is coming, writes the poet, but not yet. After the snow, before the buds, before the blooms, the world trembles with muddy possibility. In a world of doing and things to be done, in the almost and near, here in the beautiful not yet. For many years, a small circle of folks have gathered at First UU Church on the Thursday of Holy Week, which is known as Maundy Thursday in our Universalist heritage, the week leading up to Easter. It's a gathering of Universalist communion, gathered in story and song about the miracle of shared meals, the miracle of unconditional welcome, the miracles of liberation and freedom from exile. We use our historic pulpit Bible from our downtown church, and we read these words from it, from the New Testament. And Jesus took the bread and gave thanks, and brake it and gave it unto them, saying, This is my body given for you. Do this in remembrance of me. And likewise also the cup after supper. He took it and said, Take and share. Divide it among yourselves. And he gave thanks. We share bread and wine from our historic communion ware placed on our historic wooden altar from the downtown church as well, on which are inscribed the words from that very reading. It's the table that we now use as our chalice table in the sanctuary on Sunday mornings. It's an ancient story, and while our spirituality has expanded and our theology has grown over time, there is still wisdom there in a story of breaking bread, of remembering good teachers who lost their lives for the sake and cause of justice in many places all over the world. And it's also the time of the Jewish Passover, also part of our heritage, celebrating the sacredness of stories passed down through generations, resilience found in songs of liberation, and freedom from exile around our family tables. So we too gather in a circle, recalling ancient traditions spanning time and culture of remembering our own and the world's brokenness. In the tradition of Maundy Thursday, we remember the life and teachings and death of Jesus of Nazareth, and at the same time remember all times and places where good teachers stood up for justice and equity and radical compassion and were crucified by empire. And in the tradition of the Jewish Passover, we remember the miracle of earth and shared meals, nourishment of the body and the soul, which remind us of who we are, ancient stories of liberation and captivity, and the gift and responsibility to tell our stories, to break bread together, to make meaning and hope in life. Here we remember how the heart cracks open, the soul breaks open, and the rawness of our humanity is known and held by a love, a God, a spirit, a cloud of witnesses that weep with us in our suffering, ancestors whose tears have watered this muddy ground. We are in a time here now of similar uncertainties, fears, griefs, in a world where suffering and death seem so unjust and uncertain, and our hearts are broken in a way that we don't know when joy and hope will come. We're in a time here where we need to hear the stories of resilience around the Passover table and never forget, as Rabbi Shapiro wrote, the miracle of a shared meal. How true it is. The miracle of gathering at tables. How quickly it becomes so rare. How true it is, the miracle of shared space in a time of isolation, another type of captivity. And yet we remember the songs and the prayers and the stories of liberation and freedom. We sing of welcome tables and breaking bread because every table we gather at, be it our own or hopefully soon with others, whether it's with our family or with friends or with strangers, each table is sacred. And we're going to sit at the welcome table one of these days together. Spring will come. It is our faith that even though there be hardship and struggle, we believe that hope and love spring eternal. So in your home this week, in whatever celebrations you hold and recognize, in whatever stories you hold, I invite you to tell all the stories you know of perseverance and resilience over and over again. I invite you to break bread on your own or with loved ones in your home. Sing songs, and invite you to light a candle in your home and tend that flame. May these stories and songs, may these flames of hope light our way till we can gather again. May peace dwell in our hearts. May peace dwell in our world. May love dwell in our hearts. May love dwell in our world. For night, for darkness, for resting. For light, for fire, for warmth. For silence, quiet, and stillness. For singing, for breathing, for voice. Now as evening has fallen, now as stars do shine, now as darkness holds us, we lift our prayers. May peace dwell in our hearts, may peace dwell in our world, may love dwell in our hearts, may love dwell in our world. For all living lonely, for all living with grief, for all living with sadness, we pray for relief. For all of us who are broken, for all of us who are whole, for all those rejected, may we draw our circle whole. May peace dwell in our hearts, may peace dwell in our world, may love dwell in our hearts, may love dwell in our world. For every nation and people, for voices silent and strong, for leaders that they may find wisdom and justice be their song. For all the children of earth, for neighbor, country, and kin, may our spirits be lifted and find our strength again. For night, for darkness, for resting, for light, for fire, for warmth, for silence, quiet, and stillness, for singing, for breathing, for voice. Now as evening has fallen, now as stars do shine, now as darkness holds us, we lift our prayers.
And the table will be wide, and the welcome will be wide, and the arms will open wide to gather us in. And our hearts will open wide to receive, and we will come as children who trust there is enough. We will come unhindered and free, and our aching will be met with bread, and our sorrow will be met with wine. And we will open our hands to the feast without shame, and we will turn to each other without fear, and we will give up our appetite for despair, and we will taste and know of delight. We will become bread for a hungering world, and we will become drink for those who thirst. And the blessed will become the blessing, and everywhere will be the feast.
We're gonna sit at the welcome table. We're gonna sit at the welcome table.